the kid they drafted at the running back position, went back and looked at him over the course of the weekend, and I'm telling you, he reminded me of a guy that had incredible success last year as a rookie draft pick, and that was Bucky Irvin for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like this kid, dynamic, fast. I just look at it like, hey man, Sean Payton said I got to have that Joker back. I got to have that guy, and he found him. And what's the kid's name? R.J. What?
Harvey.
I can't remember. Yeah, R.J. Harvey. I think he found him in R.J. Harvey. So, good for the Broncos. We'll see exactly how it turns out. But to sit there and say, oh, they had a bad draft or a good draft, I don't know. I mean, frankly, I just don't know.
Yeah, I think time will tell. And you wait a couple years, we'll look back and say, all right, yeah, man, we didn't think that guy was going to be that good, and they end up being a really good player. So I think that reaction, Mark, and I fall into this trap, is because Mel Kiper, Louis Riddick, and these other draft experts, they tell me that the receiver that we took in the 3rd round, they had him projected to go in the 6th round. So now all of a sudden, Pat Bryant, I'm kind of skeptical on Pat Bryant, right? Because they said he's a special teams guy, maybe a number 3 type of receiver, but he's not a starter. He's a 6th round pick. That's their evaluation of him. So I listen to those guys, and so I'm skeptical of that pick. And they don't have that guy. They didn't have that guy's best available at the wide receiver position. Or R.J. Harvey wasn't in Mel Kiper's top 4 of best available in running back at the running back position when we drafted him. So I think we fall in that trap as fans. I know that I do.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And I mean, all those guys had Shedeur Sanders as the second best quarterback in this draft, and he went 144 overall in the 5th round. So, they're not always obviously right. And then there's sometimes where I think the biggest thing about the draft that people don't talk about is what's the fit. Like if you have a plan or a vision for a guy and he fits what you're trying to do. So oftentimes guys are taken in drafts that don't fit the system that you draft them into. And those guys struggle, and everybody points to the kids that, oh, what a bust he was. Well, if you're asking him to do things that he can't do, and you're putting him in a system that doesn't fit his particular play style, like, is that the kid's fault or is that the people drafting him? Is it their fault? So if you have a particular vision for a guy, then I look at that and say, hey, man, if he fits your vision and you think he can be that guy, then who gives a crap where you draft him? And who gives a crap what Kiper and, Louis Riddick and all those guys say?
So if Sean Payton, let's say Sean looks at a particular prospect, and the rest of the NFL groupthink doesn't view this player. Let's take a look at the receiver, Pat Bryant, right?
I like Pat.
So if this is a case where he looks at a prospect based out of the success he's had with players either in New Orleans or here with the Broncos, I would think that after a while you start to kind of form an idea of the kind of player that you want at a particular position based on some of the players you've had before and the success you've had. So maybe he looks at a guy like, for example, Pat Bryant. The rest of the NFL sees one thing, but he sees something based on, hey, this reminds me of something that I saw with fill-in-the-blank player in New Orleans. Are you, Mark, do you like the idea of him making evaluations and picks based on that? Or should he be able to sort of erase his memories and just be able to look at this guy in the here and now?
No, I think it's always good to compare a guy, have a vision for a guy, to understand what a guy is, what a guy isn't. And we all make evaluations based upon things that we've seen in the past that have worked for us, things in the past that have not worked for us. So I don't mind drawing on your experiences and the things that you think make for a good NFL player. I mean, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of traits and a lot of things that you look at, I think, as a coach that you say, man, I really want this. I want a guy like this. And I don't have any issue with doing that. And let's face it, I mean, since Sean's been here, I think last year was a wildly successful, it's only 1 year, but a wildly successful draft with Bo Nix and the rest of the guys that they drafted, right? Vele's turned out pretty good. I mean, Ellis has turned out to be a pretty good player. Like, I think that was a draft that you can look at right now, early return, say it's very good. So why would you not trust a Sean Payton?
Yeah, I think you go off of your history and what you know and who you've had success with, especially later round picks. So Sean will look and say, "Well, I drafted this guy, or this guy was a free agent, wide receiver, and this guy has similar traits as those types of players," and that's what you lean on. So we'll see about this guy, Pat Bryant. When I don't hear speed, and I hear well, he's a good run blocker. I want him to catch the damn ball guy, right? And touchdown guy and get down the field guy. A seam ripper. Give me a seam ripper. But so I don't think some of the stuff he might be a really good football player because Michael Thomas wasn't a speed guy
Well,
with the
maybe
Saints.
he was thinking about Michael Thomas, right?
Maybe
Are you
so.
like okay? So if he takes R.J. Harvey because he sees some, I don't know, Alvin Kamara in him, or
Right.
if he takes Pat Bryant because he sees some Michael Thomas in him, is that okay with you? Is that okay with him making picks and drafting players higher than the so-called experts say that they should have gone if he's basing these important picks because he sees and is reminded of some traits that he sees from players that he's coached before that have been very successful? I mean, to me, I think that's a good thing, right? I mean, if you have a coach who's had some success, Stink, I would think that part of the benefit of coaching successfully for a long time is you start to recognize the kind of player that works for you. And once you get into the draft process, which is, let's face it, very difficult for a lot of teams, even the good ones, then if you can sort of kind of start to eliminate the field a little bit by being able to point to people that you recognize certain traits, I would think that's a positive, right? And wouldn't that buy you the benefit of the doubt? I got some people accusing me of just being a Sean Homer. I'm not being a Sean Homer. Two things. One, I would think that his record and his resume would give him some of the benefit of the doubt. And secondly, if you're going to criticize Sean, I got to know what you're basing that on. What did you hear over the weekend, and who said it that you're so convinced that they're right and Sean and George are wrong? That's what I want to hear.
Well, I mean, basically, the accusatory text messages that you get, like, they were the same people that were like, "Oh, we drafted Bo Nix way too high because so and so had him rated as a second rounder, and he was the sixth best quarterback." Like, those are the same people that were criticizing them for taking Bo Nix, who are now praising the Bo Nix pick, and now they're going to criticize these picks. And and they'll if R.J. Harvey turns out to be the Alvin Kamara type, and he's a dynamic runner, he's a little guy, stout but little. Like I said, when I called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers official voice of the NFC South, Mike, when I called a Buccaneers game late in the season, and I watched Bucky Irvin film, I was like, Lord have mercy. This kid not only is a really good running back, he could be a slot receiver. He could be a starting slot receiver. Like, if you get that kind of value at the running back position, or if Stokes guy at the wide receiver position gives you great value, then who gives a crap if Mel Kiper or anybody else said he didn't agree with where you took him?